In this video, we're talking about manual orders through Inner Circle prints. So we're going to be talking about what is a manual order, why and when you would process a manual order, and then finally show you guys a step-by-step tutorial of how you would process a manual order through Inner Circle prints. And if you guys stick around to the end, I'll be showing you guys some order edit tricks that we use in our own business. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk first about what is a manual order. So to start with a manual order, we first need to understand what the normal workflow is through Inner Circle prints. So typically on Inner Circle prints, if you've set up everything correctly, meaning you've created an Etsy listing and you've linked up your ICP product with that Etsy listing, whether that's through the listing ID or through a SKU that you've assigned within your Etsy listing, you've linked it up with your ICP product. If you guys aren't familiar with that process, make sure you guys go watch the tutorial that I link here, which shows you guys how to do that setup and how to process the typical personalized orders through Inner Circle prints. But to go a little further, the typical process when you receive an order is you'll get an Etsy order. So we have our Etsy order. We're going to fetch that order on Inner Circle prints. So the order shows up. We're going to do some personalization, update the graphic, and then we're eventually going to submit that order. So that's the normal workflow. It involves the Etsy order coming in and then fetching the order and then submitting the order. When we have a manual order, we're going to bypass some of these steps. And so the manual order is we're essentially just going to process manual order, and then we're just going to submit the order. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do this later in this video and the step-by-step tutorial part. So the second part that I want to talk about is why/when you would want to process a manual order on Inner Circle prints. And essentially, there's two different scenarios. So why/when. There's essentially two different scenarios. The first is maybe you just want to order a sample. So maybe you want to order samples for yourself. Maybe you're ordering for your friends and family. You're bypassing Etsy and you just want to process the order manually so you can see what the products look like. That would be the first scenario and why you would want to process a manual order on Inner Circle prints. The second is if you're sending a replacement. So say you made a mistake on one of your products, you uploaded the wrong graphic, or you had a typo in your personalization, you sent the wrong thing to the customer and it was your mistake and you need to process a replacement for that. This would be the perfect way to do that. You process that manual order and do right by your customer, send that correct product to them. And like I said, we're going to jump to the tutorial now and I'll show you guys exactly how you would do that. So we're over in Inner Circle prints now. Essentially, I want to start here. Just highlight again, we've done over 35,000 orders through Inner Circle prints. Again, this is orders. This isn't units. We've probably done 2.5, 3 times the number of units shown here through Inner Circle prints. So point is, we have a lot of experience. We've by far processed the most orders all time through Inner Circle prints, which is pretty cool to say. And we have a lot of experience processing manual orders. So if any of you guys have been around since the beginning when Inner Circle prints first launched in 2023, you may be aware of this, but back then the software was very, very new. It was fresh. It was basically an MVP version. Jesse did a ton of work to get it ready, eventually had it ready, but there were some kinks that still needed to be worked out, especially that first Christmas season. We had to process probably 75% of our orders manually because there was a glitch where orders just weren't fetching for many of our products. And so what that required is we had to process all the orders manually, probably 75% of them that Christmas, and then manually copy the tracking numbers from the system and then complete the orders in Etsy. It added a ton of work. It was kind of a headache during that time, but we made it through. And since then, Jesse's worked really hard with the dev team and just designing the software. Those issues are a thing of the past. All the orders fetched perfectly fine now, but just something funny to look back on. and realize we've done tons and tons of manual orders. And so I wanted to share with you guys exactly how to do that in case you ever need to do it yourself, and show you step by step how to do that. So the first step to this is to go to your catalog. And so you can either do that by going to your catalog or your products. If you already have products set up, you know what product you're wanting to process manually, you can go right to your product section. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to start in our catalog here, and I'm just going to pick our ornament product as an example. And so essentially when you're processing a manual order, it's very simple. You don't need to fill out all of these 5 steps. All you need to fill out is step 3. So if you have a finalized graphic, if you know exactly what the final graphic is going to look like, you already have it downloaded from Canva, you can just toggle this switch and upload that final image. If you have a Canva link, in this case, I'm just going to type in a random Canva link for the sake of this tutorial. Obviously this is a fake link, but it'll work for the sake of this tutorial. You would type your Canva link or paste in your Canva link here, or your image. You could upload that. And that's essentially the only step you need, step 3. And then we can hit add to cart. So we'll hit add to cart, and we'll see this number updated, and we see this green box, item successfully added. Now for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to add a second product here. Let's add our Santa sack. So again, we're just going to put in our Canva URLs. And so I'll use the same one just for the sake of this tutorial. And then we'll hit add to cart. And now again, we see item successfully added. The cart is displaying a 0 here, which looks like a little bug. But if we click on the cart in the top right here, we'll see that both of these products are now in our cart. And when you're in your cart, it allows you to adjust the quantity. So I'm going to increase both of these to quantity 2. And the next thing we're going to do here is just hit proceed to shipping. And so the next screen here basically allows you to type in your recipient's shipping info. So name, last name, phone number, shipping address. And so for this example, I'll just type in my name here. For phone number, you can just put like 7 zeros or so many zeros, something like that. If you have an address from Etsy, you can just copy and paste that into this single box here and then hit fill. Just be careful to review the details and make sure it filled it correctly. But if not, you can just type in a random address. So in this case, I'll just type 123 Main Street, New York, New York, and I'll put in a random zip code. And once everything is filled out, the next thing you guys want to do is hit this place order button. And this button here is a little misleading because it seems like maybe you're placing the order. And you're like, wait, we haven't uploaded the graphics yet. Don't worry. When you click this button here, place order, it's not actually placing the order. All it's going to do is bring this order into your order section, into the on hold order section, and then you can process it just like you would any other order. So we're going to click this blue button here, and it's going to bring us directly to our on hold order section. And as you can see, here's our new order that we just processed. And so we have our 4 items, our 2 ornaments, and our 2 Santa sacks. And so from here, I'm not going to do it in this tutorial, but this is where you would be able to upload your finalized graphics. You could make edits to your variations. So for example, Santa sacks, you need to select the small or the full size bag before processing the order. And then you would upload your finalized graphics. And when all that was done, when you double checked your graphics were correct, you could hit approve order, and this would officially process and submit that order, pay for the order, have it get into the production queue and ready to be printed. So that's essentially how you guys process manual orders. It's a very quick process. Again, you just go to your catalog, your products, you fill out the bare minimum information required, add it to your cart, add the shipping details, upload your graphic, and then submit your order. So very straightforward. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And as promised, I wanted to share with you guys 2 bonus tips of order edits that you can do when you're on your order on hold screen here. So 2 of the things that we really like that are newer features to Inner Circle Prints and that we use from time to time and have really saved us a lot of time are these 2 buttons here. So the first one is pretty self-explanatory. This little house allows you to edit the shipping address. So let's say, for example, your customer orders, and then they message you a short time after and they say, hey, I have the wrong address. Could you please update my address? If you haven't submitted the order yet, you have the opportunity here to quickly update that address and send it to the new location that the customer wants. So that's quick and easy. You don't need to process a new order. You can just update the shipping address right here. And then when the order completes, it will automatically complete in Etsy, assuming that it was fetched from Etsy. The next tip that I want to share with you guys is this plus sign here. So this allows you to add an item. And so you can either add from your catalog or from products. And so the reason you would want to use this add item button, one example is maybe your customer placed 2 different orders or 3 different orders, and they're all going to the exact same location, right? Maybe they placed them 5 minutes apart. They realized, hey, I actually wanted 1 or 2 more of these things, but place them as separate orders. If you wanted to process those 3 orders as one order to save on shipping and just ensure all 3 of the items got there at the same time, essentially how you would do that is just add an item. So you would pick one of the orders and then you would add in from either your catalog or from products, the 2 other items. And that way, all 3 of them would be shipped at the same time. So those are the 2 tips I want to share with you guys. Pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory, but maybe you haven't seen these buttons up here, or maybe you're new to Inner Circle Prints, and they've been really helpful for us as we process orders and combine orders and edit shipping addresses and things like that. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you guys if you're new to Inner Circle Prints. And if you haven't checked out the tutorial that I mentioned earlier to show you guys how to process personalized orders on Inner Circle Prints, make sure you guys go check that out too. Thanks for watching.